Hello everyone and welcome to 9 Inch Charge. Today I'm going to do a follow-up on my how to prepare for a tournament video, as I've just come back from the tournament that I went to at Kirton Games. It was a one-day event, 3 games, 2,000 points of match play, and it was absolutely fantastic. I had a great time. It's a great venue with fun and welcoming and engaging hosts. There was a really high standard of armies there, really well painted, especially from Pro Painted Studios themselves. A really great bunch of competitors. I was going to go and play at Reading Warfare in November, but Kirton just announced another event over the same weekend as this, and after this event, I'm changing my plans and I'm coming down to Kirton instead. So really, I just can't recommend this place enough. Just a great day. The army I took was my Living Cities army list, and it was as follows. I had an assassin as my general, who was a skilled leader, which means he can generate an extra CP on a 5+ in each of my hero phases, and he unlocks Shadow Warriors to become battle line. I had an anointed on Frostheart Phoenix with the Arcane Tome. This is something that I came to really enjoy in the list because the Arcane Tome allows them to cast a spell, and if you cast a spell and you're a Frostheart Phoenix, you're attuned to magic, so it increases your save by 1. I think I'll be taking this combo again. I took Gotrek Gurniston, the same as every other Order player at the event that day. He is absolutely fantastic. I don't know if I'll be taking him again though, because he's not quite my playstyle, but it was really great and fun to see him at this one-day event and all the carnage that he wreaked. My battle line were 2 units of 10 Shadow Warriors and 1 unit of Free Guild Guard that I painted up specifically for this event. And my other units were 20 Sisters of the Watch and 4 Fulminators. That took me in at 1,985 points, and I took the Triumph that lets you reroll wound rolls. My first game was Power Struggle, which is the one with 5 objectives, and you score 1 victory point if you control 1, another victory point if you control 2 or more, 1 victory point if you control more objectives than your opponent, and 2 victory points if you complete your battle tactic that turn. My opponent was Sam and his really incredible looking Sons of Behemat army. He had 1 each of the Mega Gargants. One of them was his general, which had the Amulet of Destiny, and he had a unit of 3 Man Crusher Gargants. My army is a 1-drop deployment, and looking at Sam's army, I thought he wasn't able to screen me out effectively, only having 6 units. So I elected to give him the first turn, and hoping to get the double. So he moved up onto the objectives, and that was pretty much his turn. He had a little bit of shooting, but it wasn't very effective. I think it was out of range in the first turn. So I ran Gotrek up through the middle, taking the middle objective, and on my left flank was where his general was, so I brought on the Fulminators and the Sisters of the Watch, and just started going at his general, gunning for his general basically. That 5-up ward save was doing him a really good job, and his general survived. Obviously it's very difficult to kill a Mega Gargant in 1 turn. But then we rolled at the top of the turn to see who would go first in turn 2, and I won the double. In my turn 2, I finished off his general, and Gotrek got a long bomb charge and went into the 3 Man Crushers and killed them all in 1 round of combat. Now he did take 5 wounds back, so he was only on 3 wounds. And in Sam's turn 2, he moved a Mega Gargant over to try and deal with Gotrek, and he rolled really badly and I rolled really well. And Gotrek didn't take any wounds, and then killed the Mega Gargant back outright. And at this point, Sam had 1 model left. And his last model, the Mega Gargant, went straight into the Phoenix, and they had a titanic duel that lasted right up until the end of the game. And finally, he did defeat the Phoenix. However, he wasn't on any objectives to score in those turns, and finally, the Fulminators came over and killed the Mega Gargant. Although the game was pretty much decided in turn 2, we really enjoyed playing right to the end and seeing what would happen between the Mega Gargant and the Phoenix. We just had a great time rolling dice together. Sam is a really, really great guy, really great friendly opponent. Hopefully we can have a beer together and roll some dice at the 2-dayer coming up in November. The second game of the event was Savage Gains, which is 4 objectives. Score 1 victory point if you control the objective on the border of your territory. Score 2 victory points if you control an objective that is not on the border of either player's territories, and score 4 victory points if you control the objective on the border of your opponent's territory, 2 victory points if you completed your battle tactic that turn. In this game I played against Tim and his Seraphon. His list was Croak, a Slan, Astrolith Bearer, lots and lots of Skinks, some Skink Priests, a Salamander and some Chameleon Skinks. Sam deployed really, really well and was effective at screening me out, and also managed to put his croak more than 18 inches away from where I could come on from the board edges. So in order to effectively start shooting him and breaking him down and destroying the core of his army, I would then have to, come on and start removing chaff first. But I thought, no problem. I took the first turn, got the Fulminators out. All I had to do was kill one of the Salamanders, and then the next turn I'd be able to bring something on in range to start attacking Croak. And when you've got that many Shadow Warriors and Sisters of the Watch, I thought that's not too much of a problem. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Fulminators came on and they couldn't kill a Salamander. He was in cover and used all-out defense, so he was +1 to his armor save, ignoring my Rend 1, and he just tanked all of my attacks. So at that point, in the first turn, I hadn't really done anything effective, and I hadn't been able to get into him and start killing stuff off before he could get his buffs on the rest of his army and things like that. And in return, he caused so many mortal wounds on the Fulminators that they became ineffective for the rest of the game, which would have been okay had they done what I intended them to do. At the end of turn 1, we rolled for priority, and Tim got the double turn. From that point, I pretty much had to just hold on to objectives, and I had to use Gotrek to hold an objective and keep him at bay, and he didn't really see a lot of the game. And I think my fate was pretty much sealed from turn 1. I can remember after the game thinking that Fulminators with 1 Rend just don't quite cut it anymore. With all-out defense, it does mean that you're just fighting against someone's basic save and not actually getting through their armor at all. But I was pretty relieved when I looked at the leaks a couple of days ago and found out that they're going to get Rend 2. This is especially great for me because although my next project was going to be Sylvaneth, it is now just going to be dragons. I mean, who can resist a whole dragon army? So at that point I was 1-1 and heading into the last game of the event, and I was drawn against John Can from Fat Middle Wargaming. I was really pleased to be drawn against John because I've never met John before, but he's someone who I've watched quite a lot on YouTube, and his battle reports are really fantastic. Really great, high quality painted armies, high quality videos, great explanations of what's going on, and always really great competitive lists, the kind of list that you look at and you think, oh my goodness, I would not want to play against that. But then really useful with the breakdown and explanation of when he plays them. So if you haven't already checked out Fat Metal Wargaming, just check them out. There's going to be a link in the description. Really great channel. Make sure you subscribe. John's army was led by Be'lakor. It also had Sigvald and a Demon Prince, 10 Chaos Warriors, 5 Chaos Knights, 3 Varangard, some Marauders, and a Chaos Lord on Karkadrak. We played Power in Numbers, which was the most tense and interesting of all the scenarios that we played that day. You scored 2 victory points if you completed your battle tactic, and then starting from the second battle round, at the end of each player's turn, a player can destroy 1 or more of the objectives they control in order to score the following victory points. If a player gained control of the objective this turn, they score 1 point. If they've had it for 2 turns, they score 2 points. If they've had it for 3 turns, they score 4 points. And if they've gained control of it from the first battle round and not lost control of it until the end, you score 8 points. I took the first turn and I thought, well, I'll just throw everything at him and try and get him off his own objectives and try and keep mine. So I went in with the Fulminators, I went in with the Sisters of the Watch, I went in with a Phoenix, and I moved Gotrek up. And the Fulminators went into the Chaos Knights, and unfortunately they didn't kill them all outright, but they did a serious amount of damage and were quite a big issue for him. The Sisters of the Watch came on one side, and they killed a Chariot, which was a battle line holding an objective, which was quite significant. And the Phoenix didn't make much of an impact, but landed right in the middle of his army with Mystic Shield and Attuned to Magic, so +2 to save, which would be +1 ignoring 1 point of Rend, and just stuck around, meaning that he was kind of stuck there and couldn't really get into the meat of my army, or so I thought. John is a fantastic player, great tactician, and had something up his sleeve for such an event, and was able to teleport some of his units away into my backfield, and then we had to proper slog it out between who was going to win whose territory. Gotrek was outstanding in this game. He managed to kill Be'lakor, but the real hero was John's Demon Prince. He was able to put him into scenery kind of in the middle of the board and make the scenery go pitch black, which means he couldn't be targeted with any shooting. And he had an aura where 18 inches around him, everything halved its charge range, which when you've got Gotrek and he's got a 4-inch move anyway, and then you half his charges, he couldn't really get into a lot for the second half of the game. Core was also really good at shutting me down, so the Sisters of the Watch had an opportunity to take one of his objectives, and Be'lakor stopped them from moving on a 3+. I thought, okay, no worries, I've got another chance here. If I shoot, I can then move because of living cities, and he stopped them from being able to shoot that turn as well, and I think that was really significant. In the end, we ended up with only a few points in it. John took the win, very well deserved, very well played. It was a tense game. I think we both said it kind of wasn't what we needed right at the very end. We kind of wanted to be a bit more relaxed, maybe a more simple scenario, something like, like Knife to the Heart used to be. But yeah, so in the end, I went 1 major victory and 2 major losses. I was a bit consoled by the fact that I did feel that I was still in the games that I lost. I do think there was a chance that they could have gone either way. And I learned loads about how to play AOS 3. Played some scenarios I hadn't played before. I played with some units I've never used before. And most importantly, after a whole year of not being able to, I was able to go out and roll some dice at an event, meet some great new people, and just have a great time. Iron Jaws won the event. They had 2 cabbages and 12 pigs and 2 war chanters. A really good solid list. My friend Ben, who gave me a lift down to the event from Bristol, 1 bronze for favourite army. Really well deserved. Ben's a Golden Demon finalist pin winner, so the standards are absolutely incredible. And I managed to take home most sporting, which I was really overwhelmed by. To be honest, it was such a great crowd, I feel like anybody could have won it. Just very flattered, pleased to be rolling dice, and gives me a little something to put in my cabinet. And that was the day. Fantastic day, as I said. Looking forward to going back. Maybe I'll see some of you at an event in the future. I am planning to go to one in Bristol in a month or so, and I'm planning to go back to Kirton in November. If we do run into each other, make sure you say hi. And let me know in the comments what events you've been going to, what you've been running, how your games have been going. It's great to see people back playing this new edition. It is a fantastic edition. It's so interactive and so fun. Take care of yourselves. This has been 9 Inch Charge, and I will catch you next time.